Hey Fueled Up friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley. I'm also known as Food for Fuel Dietitian. And on this channel, I give tips and tricks for you to live your best, healthiest life. And I give you education so that you can take that knowledge and live your most fulfilling life. In today's video for Wellness Wednesday, I want to talk about food addiction. Food addiction might be something that you've heard of, but you're not really sure if it's real or not. And I'm here to tell you it is real. And a lot of the information I'm going to talk about today is from the book called The Pleasure Trap, and I'll link that down below so you guys can check it out. I highly suggest reading that. I think everyone in America should read that because there are a lot of people with food addiction in America, and it's becoming a huge problem, and it's contributing to the obesity epidemic and so many epidemics that are going on worldwide, especially in America. With that being said, I want to talk a little bit about the basics behind food addiction, and I'm going to give you guys some reasoning why food addiction happens, and then I'm also going to give you a way to really treat that food addiction and to heal your relationship with food once and for all. Let's go into the basics behind eating as a positive feedback system. Now, eating we need, right? We need to eat to live. And so our bodies are positively reinforced when we do eat by having that slight little bit of dopamine being released when we do eat. And that's why everyone loves to eat. That's something that we all have in common, right? And that's why a lot of times, especially in the times we're in right now, it's hard almost to get together with someone because you think, well, the thing I usually do with this person is go out to eat. And right now it might not be possible for you to do that, or maybe you feel less safe doing so. But that's why we all love to eat, because we are positively reinforced when we do eat. And that's a great thing. That keeps us alive. But the issue comes in when this happens to an extreme. When this dopamine release is at an extreme when we eat, we are addicted to eating. And let me tell you, this does not happen with peppers and cucumbers and carrots, right? It happens with things like donuts and chips and fries, right? These are the things that we're addicted to. And these aren't even food. I do not consider these things food. They're processed products, right? And the reason that these give us such a dopamine release is because they have excessive amounts of salt, sugar, and oil, especially saturated fats and sometimes trans fats when they're deep fried. And that's what's making us go back for more and more and more. And food companies are profiting off of our food addiction. We have it within ourselves to flip those tables around, to turn those tables around to benefit ourselves and our health. I know it's not easy, but I promise you it is worth it to mend your relationship with food. So going back to that idea of eating as a motivator to live, right? We have to eat to live, like I said. We need to keep in mind that there is a motivational triad that is discussed in The Pleasure Trap. And this makes so much sense when you really think about it. So what that means, the motivational triad is, triad meaning three. There are three main reasons that motivate us to eat. And that is 1, to seek pleasure, 2, to avoid pain, and 3, to conserve energy. If we think about this, let's compare eating, an apple versus eating a donut. When we are at that state of being hangry, as I call it, so hungry that you're angry, you're ravenous, we all would opt for that donut over that apple. And the reason for this is it satisfies that motivational triad to a T. It gives us more pleasure than that apple. It helps us avoid pain quicker. And by pain, I mean hunger, because the sugar from that donut is going to get into our bloodstream like that. It's that instant gratification. Where that apple, we're gonna have to chew all that skin on the outside with all that fiber. And because of all that fiber in the apple, the sugar is going to enter our bloodstream more slowly. So it's not instant gratification. And lastly, it's conserving us energy when we reach for the donut instead of the apple, because it's not as difficult to chew, right? And to actually absorb the calories and the sugar that we're trying to get in order to sustain our blood sugar so that it doesn't go low. Whereas the apple, it takes more energy to consume that, right? Makes sense. So that motivational triad is so important to come back to when you think about any food that you might be addicted to. So remember, food addiction is a thing. And the reason it is a thing is because we have a positive reinforcement system when we're eating. However, it's taken to an extreme when we're eating the wrong kinds of food or processed products, as I should say. And that motivational triad is something we need to come back to when we think about the types of food we're eating and recognize that, wow, if I ate real whole foods, I could still satisfy this motivational triad. But it takes time to really heal that relationship with food and to allow for that system to get back in place. And what I mean by this is if we are constantly getting a dopamine release, a huge rush of dopamine, we are going to want that food or product over something like apples, carrots, celery, kale, right? That's not giving us the dopamine rush. So why would we want to reach for that if we could reach for something that does give us that? And that's why a lot of times people who are eating a standard American diet don't like fruits and vegetables because they don't get that rush that they get with mac and cheese and pizza and, chips and candy. And it's kind of scary to think of it this way, but it's so true. Eating those foods constantly is just as much an addiction as taking a drug. That dopamine rush creates this euphoria around that processed product that you're consuming. And eating real whole foods will never be able to measure up to that euphoria you get when you eat those processed products. And the only way to stop this food addiction is to start eating those whole foods, whether you like them or not. It is unfortunate, but you can train yourself to like food, which is fortunate. You can train yourself to like, carrots and beets and Brussels sprouts. But it takes time. You can't just try it once and expect for yourself to love it. If you didn't love it yesterday, you're not gonna love it tomorrow, but you might love it in a month or 2 months. And I think that's the issue with food addiction is that it's such instant gratification that we don't remember. We have to be proactive with our eating habits. And we have to remember this might not be great right now, but imagine how I'm going to feel when I start eating these real whole foods more often. And then that whole positive domino effect is gonna happen where you start eating real good foods and you start to feel better. And that feeling better is gonna motivate you to eat those foods more. And then eating those foods more is going to make you like those foods more, and so on and so forth. Just to recap, food addiction is real and you can mend that relationship with food that you have. Even if it's a poor relationship with food, even if you think you'll never like a vegetable, I promise you, if you put in the work and you keep trying and trying and trying those vegetables, you are going to like them. It might not be every vegetable under the sun. I still don't like every vegetable under the sun, but I like almost all of them. And that's the key factor, putting in the effort and being a little bit uncomfortable for a while. Because we get so comfortable with those comforting foods, those comfort foods, and that's what leads us to have that food addiction in the first place. And I just want to make a disclaimer. I by no means am saying to never have your favorite processed type of food again, like mac and cheese. I'm just saying that we need to have those as a treat, and we need to recognize, wow, that makes my brain like really light up with dopamine. I need to make sure I only have those things once in a while, so that I can really enjoy those then, but I can also still enjoy my fruits and vegetables. That's what I mean by that. I really hope this helped you guys, and if it did, please comment below. Let me know what you think. And also, please check out the description. If you are struggling with food addiction or want to mend your relationship with food, please reach out to me. Maybe check out my website that's linked down below and set up an appointment with me. I do virtual sessions, and I do also do emotional eating coaching as well as plant-based coaching. So if you are interested in either one of those things, either reach out to me, you can email me, ask me questions, or set up an appointment on my website. I also have the link to my Instagram if you want to see some food inspiration, plant-based food inspiration. And then I also have my poetry book linked down there as well if you're interested in poetry and want to heal from the inside out. And this is a super important time to remind you to fuel yourself and not to fool yourself. Stay well and have a great rest of the week.